Welcome to this session with yours truly, William, and with us today, Oliver Hojas. We met in Switzerland and we had some really nice talks there on law of attraction, Napoleon Hill, Kevin Trudeau. I got to hear his story about how he started making money with selling his paintings. Extraordinary story. I thought this is too good to not be shared with the world. And so I asked him, would you like to do an event where we talk about it? I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot of value out of it. And just really the insights from these teachings from Napoleon Hill, Kevin Trudeau, law of attraction, to name three of them, really helpful in moving us towards that vision in how we want our career to be like, making money doing what we love. Who doesn't want that, right? Yeah. We had a call yesterday, me and Heidi Tyler, on clearing limiting money beliefs. This is the perfect follow-up to that, because now we're going to talk about the good stuff, how to get into those good feelings, believe in yourself, get really crystal clear on what you want. And then we're also going to talk about a secret, which is written in Napoleon Hill's book, which is we're gonna ask you about that. Actually, that's a good one. Oliver, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so great to be here. I'm very excited to also share about what I know and tell my story. And so, yeah, my name is Oliver. I'm from Switzerland. I'm 27 now, and I started doing what I love and making a living from it in 2020. That's actually when I quit my job, my full-time job, and went full into art. And art has been what I really wanted. So it was really a decision based on doing what I love and what I'm passionate about, which is not for everyone, right? It's not necessarily the route to make the most money, but it's possible because I proved it that you can make money and that you can make a good living with what you love. And I think we see this now more and more. More and more people doing the same, right? Doing what they love, what they're good at, and helping other people and making a good living from it. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I got some questions lined up. I'm going to share some insights from myself as well, but Oliver is going to do most of the talking. First off, we wanted to ask you, we came up with 3 questions to start off with, just to set the tone and get to know you a little bit, what you are looking for here, your intention here. The first question is, what is your reason for being on this call today? You can write that in the chat. We want to hear what your intention for being here is. What are you focusing on right now that you want to apply these principles that we will share with you on? Just take a moment to think that through. Do what I love, yeah. Anyone else? Contributing value, doing what I love. Asking myself the right questions. And if I did ask the right question, then when will I know when I get the right answer? My regular job is no longer what I love to do. I'm sure there's a lot of people who find themselves in that situation. I mean, how many hours do we spend in our jobs? That's a lot of our waking hours, a big percentage of it. We want to make sure that that is actually something where we contribute and do something that we love to do. Translating the best of my talents into the highest value for service. Beautiful. Learning constantly new things. Yeah, it's important to learn in your job too, to grow. I want to be able to live from creating my art. It is my passion and would love to pass the beauty to the world. Yeah, nice. You're in the right place to learn that. Finding my ikigai, that was like, that's a nice one. To build the next phase of my career in alignment with my vision, purpose, and passion. Beautiful. I love to know the steps to gain abundance doing what I love and know how to still enjoy doing what I love when money is involved. Yeah. Monetizing your skills, so to speak. These are some really beautiful answers and beautiful intentions here. And it's really good that we're coming together to learn about this because, yeah, I told a story yesterday about when no one had ran a mile in under 4 minutes. Everyone thought it was impossible. And then it was one person that did it. And it just, people were blown away. Like, what's going on? How did he do that? And then you had a long stretch of time, like all the time up to that point where no one did it. And this one guy did it. And suddenly another person did it, and another person, and another person. And it was just piling on this list. Just really interesting, right? It was something that happened in their mind when they started to believe that it was possible. Suddenly more people started doing it. Elise, you're the one who has Hicks as your surname. That's funny. Collaborate with other like-minded people. I'm an astrologer. I'm here to inspire everyone to live their Dharma. Oh yeah, Dharma is a beautiful, beautiful concept. Yeah. Dharma is like a purpose. Just, I read something, a book on that earlier. What we want to ask you is the second question now. Who here has read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yes or no? Just write in the chat, yes or no. Yes, yes, no, yes. We should have had like a poll and we could see the percentages. Of course, yes. Yeah. Not yet, yeah. Me and Oliver were making some jokes when we had a prep earlier, and it was like this one point when he was just freezing. I thought it was his screen or his PC just lagging, and I was just like, what's going on? And he was just joking with me. It was pretty funny. And then we had this joke that if anyone answered no to having read Think and Grow Rich, we would be like, get out. You know what you're watch the movie. Yeah, it's actually a movie. Yeah, I think it's maybe like 50-50 here. I would say something like 50-50.
I think a bit more yes than no, I would say.
Yeah, maybe a bit more.
70,
Yeah, maybe like
30
60.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. 60
yeah,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, 60-70. Yeah. And third question, who knows the secret from the book Think and Grow Rich? And for the ones who didn't read the book, it is very much about like the secret to all the success that you want. So for the ones who didn't, to the ones who answered no, you could say what you think the secret to having it all for you is. But to the ones who read the book, what was that secret that Napoleon Hill was talking about? Because he's talking about a secret many times, but he doesn't really ever say the secret is. So we want to ask you if you know what the secret is. Curious to hear. The law of attraction, do what you love. What do you think the secret is? Write it in the chat. Knowing oneself. If I can imagine it, I can achieve it. Okay, yeah. Actually, a bit of a funny thing. Oliver has a tattoo on his body with the secret.
Yeah. I show it only in the end.
Yeah, he will wait until the end to show it. Then you will know the secret to having it all. Mastery of quantum physics. Yeah. What the bleep do we know? Isn't that Kevin Trudeau? Or who is that?
No, that's with Joe Dispenza and other people.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
True. And The Secret too. That's a lot of good authors in there. Discipline, yeah, that's one of the traits he's talking about. Yeah, how about I want to show you guys something real quick before we go into just this right here. Let me know when you see my screen. Just gonna take a few seconds.
Now.
You see it now?
Yeah.
This is just putting it out there. Look at the ratings. I mean, this book is old. I would buy the original if I were you, because there were some edits later on, and the few of the reviews that are actually bad wrote something about, oh, it's a new version, it's not the original version. It's 4.7 the stars. It doesn't show right here, but it's 4.7, and that's over 79,000. There's got to be something to it, right? It's not just me and Oliver who like this book, right? Here you go. I took this picture from, this is the painting that Oliver made and sold to Jon and Missy. Here they're putting it up on a live session. Look how happy Jon is. And then Missy also wrote a mail where she wrote some really nice words. I didn't catch that in this picture, but this is Oliver, what he's been doing. Yeah, let me stop sharing. Get back to where we were. Happiness was also an answer. That's a good one. Thinking of what you want consistently, upgrading your identity. Yeah, some good answers here. Yeah, we're gonna share that the tattoo in the end. Feeling what you want and believing it. Nice. Okay. I wanted to start with just asking you, Oliver. So the question is just, how did you start making money doing what you love? Like, what's the story of you getting to the point right now where you are making money on your paintings? Can you tell that story?
Yeah, let's dive into it. Before, just to mention the secret, we will reveal it in the end of the call. We will reveal the secret from Napoleon Hill. And yeah, about my story, how I started. So I've always knew that I'm an entrepreneur, and like Jon said, I was always pretty much, how did he say, unemployable. So like I couldn't really work well in a job. And I was not really happy with the jobs I did. I basically, did an apprenticeship to make money. And because everybody said that's what you should do, you should get an apprenticeship, you should get a certificate. And that's the same, I think, as if somebody tells you to study. It's basically, I just went down the path that society told me to do, if it was now my parents or other people that advised me that. And then very soon I realized that's not really what I want to do. So I went on to the journey to figure out, what I want and what are my talents and what am I good at, what am I passionate about. So I spent, I would say, the beginning, I spent most of the time figuring out who I am and what I want to do in this world. But for me, a big part was also to kind of spiritually figure out who I am. So, because from my first mentor, I learned that most people go out into the world figuring out who they are in the world, but because they don't know who they are spiritually, they're too attached. And I felt that too. I felt kind of like a pressure. So everything I was passionate about, I immediately thought I need to make money with it. And I wasn't really relaxed. I wasn't really happy. And then I spent a lot of time becoming happy, just also resolving some trauma. There was a lot of work that I did. And the first business then that I started was actually, I was working part-time in Burger King. So just so you know where I'm coming from. And back then I was actually vegan, so it didn't really fit to my values. And I love traveling. So traveling helped me a lot to just go out of my normal environment and think. So I think that's also something that way too many, not enough people do. They don't think about what they really want, right? Because we are so busy, right? We are working most of the time, and after work we are so tired. So my first 2-3 years when I really had this apprenticeship. I actually quit the apprenticeship after 2 years because I just didn't see any purpose. So I would say I was pretty courageous. Many people said I shouldn't do that, but I trusted myself and I followed my heart and I took risks. And so, yeah, when I traveled a lot to think, because every time I traveled, I was like inspired. I saw new things. I really could, think about my life and what I really want. And so once I was traveling with my brother to India, and the last week or like the last few days, I knew that I need to go back to this life in Switzerland that I don't like. And it made me inside of me, I was crushed. I felt so, it was a horrible feeling because I didn't want to go back. It was like, and that's my life, right? It's my life and I don't want to go back to my life. And then I made the decision actually that I don't want to have this anymore. I want to create a life that I'm excited about going back to if I have holidays. And that's actually now the case. I don't even like, I mean, I still like to do holidays, but I actually struggle if I'm too long away from my work. I cannot take it anymore. It's exactly the opposite. Now I want to go back to my work and work on my passion and work on my purpose. So in India, I decided that I will change and I need to find what I want to do. I need to change something. I want to create a life I love. And I would say the job like what you do for work is taking most of the time. So I found that really, really important. And so after I came back, I quit my job and in Burger King, and I decided that I will do photography. And how did I know how did I know that I want to do photography? That's maybe also in some of your in your mind, like how do you know what you want? And for me, basically was figuring out what's my we called it genius. So it's like figuring out what I'm really, really good at naturally. And it was so, for me, it was creativity. So my genius is creativity. And you could also call it talent, right? But it's really focused on like the one thing that you're really good at and that comes very natural to you. And for me, it was creativity, but it was so natural to me that I couldn't really see it. So when one of my mentors told me like, hey, your genius is creativity, I'm like, no, that's not possible. That cannot be. That doesn't sound good enough in a way, because it was so normal and so natural to me. I did it my whole life. I did it as a kid, like actually how I think and how I do things, how I dress myself, everything. It's really creativity. And she could see it because she had a, how do you say, like an objective view? Is it objective or subjective? I think objective, right? So she could see me from the outside. And I was, inside of my experience, having certain limiting beliefs. And so when she pointed that out, it took me like a year to accept that this is it. And when I accepted it, when I realized, okay, this is me, I am just a creative person, even though, because usually we always, I mean, it depends, but I always wanted to be someone I'm not, or we're always looking at the people that are very different from us because it's interesting, they're different, right? So I needed to accept it. And when I did, then I could explore. Then I was exploring, okay, so I took it step by step as well. I was first going into maybe directions. I started trying new things that are all aligned with creativity. And whatever I could do that was, even if it was not like 100% creativity, because we don't go for perfection, even if I could like have a job like where I could film something or cut videos or whatever, something creative, it was a win for me. It was like, this is the right direction. So I really started focusing on that. So I then quit my job, started partnering up with a friend. He actually was a good photographer, and I had no idea about photography, but I learned it so fast and so easily because it was within my talents, right? It was creative. So for me, it was so natural to learn, and I was very fast, really good. At the same time, I still had jobs because, of course, when you build a business, you need to first, maybe you don't pay your bills right away with that. And I needed to learn a lot about business. So for me, it was a bit, that was my first, let's say, business failure, but it taught me so much. So I thought, yeah, I just leave it all behind. I go to a new place. So I moved 2 hours from where I lived. And I thought, then I'm building now this photography business. But then unfortunately, it really failed because I wasn't ready. So I did know already the secret, but I didn't really apply these things. So I was actually guided, but I wasn't aware of it. So that's also why I believe that happened. And I had a lot of fear and a lot of doubt and a lot of negativity still that I didn't work on, that I didn't look at. And so the business didn't work out. And I was actually painfully shy, couldn't talk to anyone, I had no idea about business. And I thought I can just jump right in and make money from it. So I was a bit delusional, but it taught me a lot. So what happened is that a few months I couldn't pay my bills. I was actually sleeping in an empty apartment that a real estate agent gave me. It was a funny story because I was a photographer taking on a Saturday afternoon a shooting with a fitness model, and that was actually the day I needed to move out of my apartment. But I didn't find anything and didn't have any money, so I was really confused what to do. So I'm like, okay, let's go to the shooting. The TV came to film her and me, and I'm like, that's great, let's do that. And so I was kind of guided to go there, and at around like 2 o'clock, I told them that I have to go. And I started to feel pressure because I needed to find a place to sleep. I had no home anymore. And then they were like, what's happening? Why do you need to go? We are not done yet. And so then I told them what's happening. Have no apartment. I needed to find something, have nothing, have no money. And then it turned out the second photographer that also came to the shooting was also a real estate agent. And so he made a few phone calls and got me an apartment. So that was like one of the most powerful experiences I had with the law of attraction, and also realizing that the universe has our back. The universe supports us. And it obviously, that was, for me still, when I think about today, it's crazy how that happened. But I just felt I need to go there, even though my friends told me I'm stupid, I should look for an apartment, I cannot go now to a shooting. I'm like, I kind of felt I have to go to the shooting. So long story short, then I had this apartment, but I was sleeping on the floor, still didn't make any money. And after like 3 months, I said, nah, enough is enough. I knew I needed to change, because there's also a good quote that I think it's from Wayne Dyer. Like, if you want things in your life to change, you have to change things in your life. And it starts with the thinking. So for me, it was like, okay, obviously something isn't working out, and I was very negative. That's why I was at this place. I created that. So after it was enough, I realized that I created this. That's why I saw, it's enough. And somehow I had the cognition that I created this. And so the same evening, I Googled into YouTube that I think Louise Hay, or I'm not sure if I Googled Louise Hay. I just did a gratitude meditation because I knew that I read it somewhere, because I read books before, but I didn't really implement them. So somewhere I knew gratitude is probably the right thing now. So I Googled that, and Louise Hay came. And the same evening, I did like a 30-minute gratitude ritual. Went to bed on the floor. I was sleeping on the floor, just with, covering myself with towels. And the next morning, I woke up and did the same thing. First thing, I did the gratitude meditation from Louise Hay. And that's really when everything shifted. And that's when I saw the power of your mindset, right? Because I saw I created that through the negativity, and the gratitude immediately, the first day, brought me out of this mess. So I, found a job, and I started getting myself back in a normal place. So I needed to move back to my mom, which I was not really proud of. I wanted to actually avoid that, but I also got this part-time job because so I can pay my bills again. And at that time, I actually started nurturing myself more and being more kind to myself. And so I did a lot of affirmation with Louise Hay and gratitude ritual. And through this process, I started slowly to paint. And it was interesting because it was the first time I didn't pressure myself to make money. That's the interesting thing, because with photography, I started it and wanted to immediately make money. With art, it came to heal myself. So it just came, I did it because I loved it. So that's the thing, right? Photography was fun, but I didn't fully love it. It was like, oh, I'm good at, I could make money from it, which is nothing wrong with this thinking. But for me, it just didn't work out. It wasn't the right time. Today, actually, I could 100% build a successful business from photography, because now today I learned a lot about other things. So we get to that, what exactly I learned and what helped me the most. So yeah, I found art, and when I found that, I kind of knew that this is it. But of course, it took also a bit of time. And that's again, like, I found something that I absolutely loved. And even in times when I doubted, is this it? You know, am I really good enough? Am I really an artist? Can I call myself an artist? I just came back to the question, or like I asked myself, how do I feel when I paint? And it was always the same thing. It was like, I feel amazing, right? I feel, I don't know, it just, that was the thing. It's all the doubt. That's why I believe in doing what you love and making money from it, because I believe if you do something you don't really love, and especially if it's a business, so if you want to make money from it, be your own boss. I mean, if you have a job that you don't love, that's a different thing, because you get paid monthly, yeah, right? You have your salary and you have a boss or maybe managers that tell you what to do. And as an entrepreneur, you don't really have that, right? So you need to have somewhere, you need from somewhere this drive and energy and passion to keep going, even though it's maybe not always easy, or sometimes you doubt, right? So that was for me the case. So it took, that was 2017 or 2016, I believe, I started painting. And I had, you know, I sold a little bit here and there, but, you know, far away from making a living. And I doubted often, but always could come back to, you know, I just love it. I just love doing it. It fills me up. I feel better when I paint, right? So, and that's also how I got better very easily. I didn't need to force myself or discipline myself to sit down and paint. I needed to do that with other things, but with painting, not, because it's all I wanted to do. So that's, again, also another point why I think it's great when you love something, because you want to do it, right? You don't need to discipline yourself. You don't need to force yourself. With that said, business is different, because if you make it full time, I saw somebody said as well, like how you know, she can do what she loves, make money and still love it when money is involved, right? So because it's true, like just doing what you love is a different thing than doing what you love and making money from it. That's like a different aspect. But still today, it's for me, it also became more like about also a legacy, right? It's like, who am I? What am I really, really good at? And where could I become really great in the world and make a big difference, right? And I think when you love something, it's probably because you're good at it, right? You're good at it. That's why you love it. It's natural for you. It's easy. So to answer the question as well, how I got started thinking about, you know, really, what am I good at? What do I love? What am I passionate? And especially like thinking about it in a way of what's natural to me and what was always natural to me since I'm a kid. Because I feel like we all have already tendencies when we are a kid. I mean, I see this with my brother, right? We all can change, but sometimes we still have our kind of our unique, our individuality somehow. And so that's what I saw in me when I looked back. I always did creative things, whatever, if it was music, dancing, beatboxing, like all kinds of things. So for me, this is it. That was creativity, even though it then took me a while to accept it. But yeah, sometimes we don't see what's like in front of us, right? We don't see that. That's so simple and natural. But so that's a bit of my story. And then 2019, I started making some money, and but not enough to make a living. Still had a full-time job. And 2020 was the point for me when I was ready. And so I started listening more intensely to Kevin Trudeau, who talks about Think and Grow Rich and Law of Attraction in 2019. And then in 2020, I kept practicing it and kept thinking about what I really want. I got really excited about it. And when the time was right, I could quit my job and go fully into art. And that's a bit the story. We can go more into detail. Maybe William, you can ask me about some detailed things about, you know, how exactly this happened. But that's the broad story to how I got to where I am. And now since 2020, I'm living from my art.
That's beautiful, Oliver. Thank you for sharing that. There's it must take a lot of courage, you know, to share the hard sides as well, which is very much blurred out, you could say, in many of the stories that you hear from people who really make it. So I really appreciate you doing that. It's very inspirational to to hear. And I can just imagine how much courage it must take to really go for that. And I know myself, I know I've taken a bit of an unconventional path in my own life, and you do have people who are telling you that you should do something else. Your story also made me think about this picture I've seen with it's a test, and you have the person who is going to give out the test and grade them, and then you have a fish, you have a monkey, you have an elephant, and I think the last one is like a tiger. And then the person who is giving out the test is saying, you are going to get a grade based on your ability to climb this tree. The monkey is like, yeah, woohoo, awesome. The fish is like, what? The elephant is like, you gotta be kidding me. Right? And the tiger is like, oh, maybe. Right? And this is what society does to us, right? It's giving us this assignment to climb that tree, but maybe you're born for swimming. Like maybe that is your calling. Maybe that is your talent, the thing that you are good at. And it's so beautiful, Oliver, that you discovered what you were good at. This is such a powerful story for sure. I'm actually curious about one thing. What was driving you? What was it that kept you going, even when the going got tough? I'm curious to hear more about that.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I think I came from a difficult childhood. My mom was alcoholic, and I grew up in a boarding school. So I was a rebel. And I don't know, I think I just believed that, there is more. There was actually, there was something that really kept me going, because even when I had no idea about the law of attraction and all of this, I had zero, I was kind of like asleep in a way, but I felt that it must be more in the, there must be a purpose that I'm here. So this kept me going. And actually it led me then also toward finding amazing mentors and finding suddenly books that changed my life and opened my eyes. And later on, when things got, because I see it like as phases, right? Life is in different phases. So I had times where it was really tough, and then something came that, got me to the next level and gave me hope and believe again. And specifically about the business and doing what I love, that was also something that drove me. So since such a long time, I knew since such a long time that I want to be an entrepreneur. So I guess it's also knowing who we are, right? Knowing who we are and what we want. So like focusing actually on what I want kept me going. Even like when I was in a job that I didn't like, I always like, and in the beginning it was slow, because I was based on the law of attraction. You should focus on what you want most of the time, right? But in the beginning, I maybe 20% I focused on what I wanted, and 80% on what I don't want or what's not good in my life. So in the beginning, it was a bit slow, but the more I discovered these things and learned these things, the more I understood. So I would say definitely also reading books and listening to inspirational audiobooks, and especially like Esther Hicks, Kevin Trudeau, The Secret, Law of Attraction, all these amazing concepts. These things got me going, especially when I had, friends that didn't believe in that and thought I'm crazy and told me negative things about life and what I should do. I just went back to my books and audiobooks, and this kind of helped me to program myself and focus on the things that I really want. And in the end, I think that there was a really, really great step in my life that I kind of like consciously and unconsciously took. In a way, I didn't specifically wanted to do that, but then I still did. So what it was is that I, on one point, said, I need to find mentors that are alive, that I can talk to, not just that I listen to or read. So, and then like, the universe just gives you opportunities and things come into place, and suddenly there she is, my mentor. And back then it was for me more spirituality and meditation, but she actually became like one of my longest mentors. And in the end, that was in 2017, I actually started working for her. And so I saw my role models, my mentor, day and night, and worked with them. And they were creating a successful business. And at the time, I was still quite negative, I would say. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, I was living with them, and I was complaining a lot about them and everything. But now looking back, and I'm like, wow, they were really, really generous and patient with me. And so for me, it was like being with people like that was a huge change. And actually, they also kept me going for a very long time, like for 3 years, even though I didn't like to do everything, and some things, yeah, were maybe not so nice. But in the end of the day, I just seeing them living that life and doing an impact in the world. And they also do what they love. I mean, they are living their genius, their passion, creating an impact in the world. And I saw all of that. I saw how they made money with that, and how happy people were, taking their services and stuff. That was huge for me. So looking back, I don't know where I would be now if I wouldn't have been there for 3 years. That was like a boot camp. So I don't know, how, I mean, not everyone has this possibility. And for me, I was very lucky because I actually had nothing. I saw that as something bad first. I had nothing. I'm living with my mom, no apartment, no car, nothing, no girlfriend, no family. But in the end, it turned out to be good because I had nothing to lose. So I was living with them was for me amazing. But if you have a lot to give up, it's like you're probably not going to do that. Not saying you should do that, but the point is to just get surrounded by the people that are your role models, that inspire you, that think in the way you want to think, that have the life that you want to have, somehow to get closer to them. And if it's, I know some people offer masterminds, and there are many opportunities now to get to these people. So, and even if it's not the people, it can also be really, it can be for a while, just the book and the audiobook. Because when you listen to an audiobook from, let's say, Esther Hicks, it's as if you are with them. While you're listening to these things, you don't have any thoughts. You're not thinking about your life and what you don't like and what's not working. You start thinking more of these thoughts, and then your thoughts will do the rest, right? If your thoughts are aligned with what you want and they're like in a positive frequency, and you focus on what you want and what gets you excited and you feel good, the right things and opportunities come into your life to get you to where you want to go. So the short answer, what got me going always was to know what I want. Even if before I had Lifebook, I didn't know the whole life. I did that was new for me. That changed in 2019. That's when I joined Lifebook. But before, at least just knowing like one thing that I really was passionate about, that drove me, that I had a burning desire for, that always kept me going. Yeah.
Let me see if Kevin Trudeau. I think that was right. Maybe I messed up. Did I mess up Kevin Trudeau? Trudeau.
Yeah, but
he has a course called "Your Wish Is Your Command." Trudeau, just without the E. Yeah, the E was supposed to. Yeah. He wrote it right. I wrote Trudeau wrong. Okay.
And that's one of Your Wish Is Your Command. I need to think. I think I know him since 2018. And yeah, every time I was in a really, really, really tough situation and didn't know further, I actually listened to Your Wish Is Your Command. And after listening to it, it took, I think, 2 weeks, the course. So it's not that long, but you need to be committed. So you need to listen to it every day. And after the 2 weeks, bam, I saw a new way, a new path, new opportunities. I knew again what I wanted, there were times when I didn't really know yet what I wanted, but at least I felt good, because I think that's the first step. So when you feel really, really bad, it's really hard to focus on what you want, right? So because we have like, I don't know how many thoughts, but 10 of thousands of thoughts every day. So it's really hard to monitor your thoughts and, remove the bad ones and focus on the good ones. It's difficult, but how you know if you focus on what you want on positive things is by how you feel. That's what I learned from him. It's actually very simple. If you're feeling good, and the better you feel, the better. If you're feeling good, then you know you're on the right path. Even though like you don't know exactly what you're thinking about. It's like when you feel good, you will attract good things in your life. It's that simple. But when you want to attract something specific into your life, then of course you need to know and define it, know what you want, but make sure that while you think about it and in general, that you feel good. And then you will attract that too. And so, yeah, I mean, Kevin Trudeau was a huge thing for me to get going. And even today, like I listen now to him quite a lot, and it's yeah, it helped me immensely. Yeah.
There's a lot of nuggets here. I gotta say, the environment you were put in, the environment you were in with having those mentors, it really increases your belief, your level of belief, because what happens is that you see that they are doing it. You also saw that they were providing value to other people. So you know
Yeah.
that this service is a good one. And seeing them do it and seeing that, hey, they're not so different to me. Of course, it increases your belief. Kevin Trudeau talks a lot about who do you listen to. Very, very important. You want to listen to those who have been where you are and made it to where you want to be. And ideally, they're available to teach you. I mean, it could be reading a book like Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. This is super valuable too. But if you can have a physical mentor with you, that is so valuable. What would you say? I mean, we spoke a little bit about chasing two rabbits. That was one question that came up. What do you believe about the quote, if you chase two rabbits, both will get away?
Yeah, I see. I'm like a lot. I really love this quote because it's very true. It's like for me, my personal experience was that I had this job working with my mentors, and I loved it much more. And it was a step towards my vision, and I learned so many things. So it was perfect for me. But I also knew that it's not the end destination. But I wasn't sure. Right, I wasn't sure, if I mean, I was already painting, so I had lots of artworks. I already sold a bit, but I also played with the thought of becoming a coach because I saw so many people being successful with coaching, especially them. Like my mentors did coaching, and so I saw them successful. So I'm like, yeah, I tried in a way. I did kind of both, and but I didn't really make a decision, so I couldn't really go with it fully. So in the end, I was not making much progress till 2020 when I made the decision. So I think so. What changed? What happened for me is that I think I was not even looking consciously for a business coach, but that happens when you know what you want, because I knew clearly that was after going through the life book process. I knew clearly that I am an entrepreneur. This is what I want to do. I didn't know exactly what yet, but I defined exactly what I knew I wanted, which was how I want to feel, how I want to wake up, my life. And then I also saw, okay, with that life, I need to be an entrepreneur, because otherwise I will never have the flexibility to do that. And so that was very clear. Then it was just like, so what am I going to do? But I felt so great that a coach found me, a business coach reached out to me. And it was a really good vibe. So I jumped with him on a call, and we were talking about he could help me to create my own coaching package and coach artists. But back then I didn't really sell art. I mean, I did sell some art. In 2019, I sold 15,000 worth of art, 15, which was for many, it's already a great achievement. And for me back then as well. But of course, the goal was to live from it and live well from it. And in Switzerland, you cannot live with 15,000. So in 2020, this coach met me, we had a conversation. And when we had the conversation, it was about coaching. And the reason was actually because, and that's another thing, because I believe that you can do it as a coach, but I didn't fully believe that you can do it as an artist. And so that's also why you are with others, and why you should be with people that are where you want to be, that have been where you are now, and are where you want to be. Because what happens is they raise your belief, right? So for me, I mean, when I started painting, it would have been impossible for me to make a living because I couldn't see it and I couldn't believe it. And I was doubting so much. And that's the law of attraction, right? Not many talk about that. But if you focus on what you want, but you doubt it, you won't get it. It's really that simple, actually. So what you need to focus on then is either a smaller goal, something smaller that you believe in, and or you can do both, but you can what you should mainly do if you really want to get this is surround yourself with people that already have that. Surround yourself with people that already achieved bigger things, because when you see them, especially when you see them live, so I lived with them, so I saw they are normal human beings. They are not perfect. They make mistakes. They watch Netflix at night. They sleep. They don't wake up at 6 a.m. They wake up at 8, 9 a.m., sometimes even 10 a.m., but they make it, right? They make money doing what they love and make impact. So for me, it was, wow, you know, it raised my belief. But then it was, okay, but is this possible with art? But since for me it was again, like they sold packages for like 30, 50,000. And that was like so high that I'm like, wait a minute, if somebody buys a package and is absolutely happy and excited about it, when somebody buys that for 50,000, it must be possible that somebody buys my art for 1,000 or 2,000. That's what I wanted back then. So you see what happened in my mind, seeing them and having these experiences and seeing them on the phone, taking action and being normal human beings and not being perfect, raised my belief that it must be possible. And then when the coach came, that was the defining moment, was when, you know, he told me like, hey, I can help you, but, you know, this is what it costs. So I needed to give up something. Kevin Trudeau talks about that a lot. It's like the willingness to learn. Because when you know, you have a mentor or you have people you listen to, and as I said, it doesn't need to be a real mentor. It can really be if you read a book and you do, like you are fully present and you take everything you are learning and you're implementing that, it can be as if you are talking to a coach. But the problem is that most of us, we read it, and then when we're done, we go to the next book. And then we go to the next book. So we are kind of consuming, right? That's the thing. And when you're talking with a coach one-on-one, it's more directed to you, more specifically. But you can actually achieve amazing success only from a book and audios. But you also need to know what type you are, right? And for me, it was like, I want to have a one-on-one coach. So he told me the price. And then I'm like, okay, I need to think about it, because, you know, there was a lot of money for me. And when I had time to think about the decision, like, do I want to do that? And again, the conversation was to be a coach and have my coaching package and coach artists around creativity. And I had some time to think about it. And then I was like, what do I really, really want? And then when I was really honest to myself, I realized if everything would be possible, what I really want would be to sell my art, because I painted so much. It's what I absolutely love. There are so many amazing paintings that are ready to, you know, be sold and get to people's homes. But, you know, I didn't fully believe it. That's why I didn't take it. But then I'm like, okay, let's ask him. That's what I really want. So I wanted to ask him. And I also told in my mind, like, so if he says he can help me sell my art, I will do it. I will commit myself. And so then I talked to him and said, I was thinking about it. I don't really think it makes sense to, you know, coach now. That's a totally new thing. And what I really want to do is art. Can you help me with that? And then he asked me some questions and, oh, okay, you sold some. And then he said, yes, I can help you. And he said it with conviction. What happened then, again, is he raised my belief. That's really what happened. When I look back, that's exactly what happened, because I needed someone that believed in me more than I believed in myself. Because I wasn't fully convinced that I can really make a living from my art. That seemed like a huge mountain. And I didn't know many artists that did it. So when he said, yes, I can help you, and I felt his conviction, I'm like, I'm in. And then after like the first 1.5 months, I made more money than I did in my job in 11 months. Only in 1.5 months from my art only, while having a full-time job. And that was for me, that blew my mind. It was like I'm living a different life now, and it happened so quick. And looking back, I know exactly why it happened. And again, like I did it while I had a full-time job, because I see many people want to do what they love. And here's another thing, right? I made the mistake. That's why I told the story as a photographer. I made the mistake that I jumped into something full, like all in, too early when I wasn't ready. So sometimes, right, we need to be honest to ourselves. And I also didn't fully understood the law of attraction, because today I know if you think about, let's say you want to quit your job and do your thing full time, But every time you think about this thing that you want to do full time, you know, what you love and making money from it, but every time you think about it, there's more doubt, and suddenly you feel low energy, you feel tired, you feel anxious, then it's not the right thing right now. Then it's too much, it's too big. And that's really that's like one of the secrets that nobody's talking about, really, because it doesn't sound so sexy. It's not like, so you cannot really sell that, right? It's like, but that's really the truth. And I didn't know that as a photographer, but I had doubt. I didn't believe I can do it, but I kind of still thought some miracle will appear. And the thing is, the miracle will appear if you believe you can do it, because then all miracles come to you because you're attracting them, right? All these, how do you say, the synchronicities and the people and the possibilities come all to you based on you believing in this dream or goal. That's when everything comes into your life. So I didn't know that before, but you know, in 2020, bam, I got the lesson and I totally understood it, because I wanted to quit this full-time job already in 2018, 2019. But every time I thought about quitting my job and doing something else, I had almost not like how do you say, like nightmares, but you know, not in the night, but while I was thinking about it, I saw myself landing on the street, having no money, going back to my mom, all things. Like I saw my life unfolding in really horrible ways in 2018 and 2019, when I already thought about quitting my job. And at some points I was really angry at, you know, my boss and mentor, and I'm like, I need to go from here, I cannot do it anymore. And then I thought about, you know, doing my own business. But every time I thought about it, I felt really bad. And that was another lesson I learned. When you hate your job right now and you focus on what you don't like in your job, you just create more of that. So you cannot leave your job actually and do what you love while you focus on what you hate in your job and your boss and everything. And that sounds for many, it sounds confusing, because you're like, but I don't like this. I don't want to have this anymore. But the problem is, you create what you focus on, right? So what you actually have to do is you have to become grateful for what you have for your current job and see the positive. Why? Because it makes you feel better. And when you feel better, you can start focusing on what you want, right? You can start focusing on what, you know, what is this thing that you love? And you need to find, that's also called the sweet spot. Let's say you want to make a full-time living from this thing that you love, whatever it is, if it's now teaching, coaching, art, something creative, music, whatever it is. If you want to do full-time, if you want to live full-time from that, but when you think about it, you don't feel good, then you need just to go a step back. And it's like, okay, what is the first step to get to this point? But when you feel amazing, if you focus on what you want, to make a full-time living from this thing, and you feel amazing about it, you feel really, really good, and you get excited, then go for it, because then you will get it 100%. So these are basically the most important things I've learned, is that whatever you want can come into reality if you feel good when you think about it, and you have a burning desire. So, or let's say it like that, feeling good about your dream is having a burning desire, because usually the more you think about it, the faster it comes into your reality. So you almost need to get obsessed with what you want. And how do you do that? By having a burning desire. Because when you have a burning desire, all you think about is that one thing. And I think all of us know how that feels, right? I think we all had things that we were thinking about all the time, because and the more we thought about it, the more we got excited, right? So this is a burning desire. And the second step is that you believe you can get it. So it's like the burning desire and that you believe you can get it. These are the two most important things. And if these things are in place, these two things, then with absolute conviction, you will get it 100% promise, because it's the law of attraction. But there, of course, are some things that can happen along the way. You could get distracted, and maybe you have a burning desire for it, but you don't believe you can get it, but you don't realize, right? So there are all these things. Maybe you know, think about what you want, but what happens in your brain after a while is that you start switching to what you don't want. And so a very, very easy way is to always focus on feeling good every day as much as possible, because then you know you have positive thoughts, and your emotions, they support your thoughts. So every thought you think has actually, your thoughts have an effect on your emotions, right? but you cannot, it's not so easy to control your thoughts. But when you make yourself feel good, so I think we all know that when we go for a walk, when we work out, when we, stand with a good posture, and maybe we sing, maybe we do something creative, maybe we cook, suddenly we feel better, and suddenly our thoughts are more positive, right? So with doing certain things that make you feel good, you can really influence your thoughts, and then also, what you focus on. That's kind of, the secrets wrapped into my story and the explanation. And these are some of the things that I learned. And back then I oftentimes created some very tough and negative situations because I didn't fully understand it and kept focusing on things that I don't want. But even with that said, even there are sometimes things in your life that come for whatever reason that you didn't expect and that you don't like and that make you feel bad. But here the trick is to, when you see them, to not react, because we are all trained to feel bad. Let's say something happens, somebody, you need to go to work and there is a, how do you say in English, Stau. Well, what's that? Like
Sure, you can
like
help him.
Traffic jam.
Traffic jam, exactly. There's a huge traffic jam and you need to go to work. And so we are trained when something happens like that to to feel negative, like, why is this happening? I need to go to work. They cannot. So what happens is we feel bad. But what we do is we blame it on the situation, and then we lose control. And so this is kind of the biggest training we need to have in all of this, because you could also think, wow, this traffic jam, very interesting. I didn't expect that, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And maybe this is preventing me from something really bad, So you kind of you train yourself to believe that this happens for a reason. You don't know, because that's the truth. When you focus on what you want, so you do the things right? You have a burning desire for something, and to be honest, it not always needs to be like a really, really burning desire, but it needs to be something that you are emotional about, that you feel, because that's kind of the juice that creates it. And so when you do that, and something bad happens, something we would call bad, it could also be just something that the universe is doing for you to get what you want, because you don't know, you have no idea how it comes to your life, right? And that's actually another thing we wanted to talk about, William, but which is the how, right?
Yeah,
like
the balance between the how and the thinking aspect. I would also like to expand on what you said with the sweet spot. What he's really talking about here is finding that point where you feel excited and also believe that it's possible. Think of it like a scale from 1 to 10. If you put the goal too far out there, you will get excited, but your belief is going to be lower, right? Whereas if you put it too close to you, you will believe that it's possible, but the excitement will be further down. So what you're aiming for is finding a goal that is far enough out that you get excited, but not so far that you still believe it. This is that sweet spot. Also, the training balance scale. This is from Kevin Trudeau, your richest your command, by the way. Training balance scale. It's about 99% of getting there is about the thoughts. 1% is the how. Just like the first time I heard is crazy. Like how could that be true? But what is your experience with that, actually, Oliver? And also we should talk a little bit about, I see there's some questions in the chat about mentors, finding the right mentors. We can tackle that a little bit, have a little bit of time. We've been going for an hour now, I see. So we can take a little bit of time near the end, just talking about some of the questions coming up in the chat. Also, if you have a question, write a big Q, and then we'll be happy to answer that. But you could start with saying some things about the balance between the thoughts and the how.
Yeah, that's a big one, and was also for me really confusing when I heard that, because again, we are not trained to think that way. So the training balance scale from Kevin Trudeau is basically, you can imagine it as a scale, right? And what we are taught, and somehow I don't know exactly where we are taught that, but when I've thought about it, it's true. I was thinking exactly the same. So what we are taught is that it's 50-50. So your thoughts, intentions, for what you want, dreaming, setting goals, emotions, all these things, and then the how and the techniques, the strategies, all the actions, all these things are like 50-50, needs to be balanced. That's why it's called the balanced training scale. But the truth is, it's actually like this. 99% are the thoughts, the dreaming, the goals, what you want, why you want it, the burning desire, focusing on what you want, intentions, feeling good, emotions, energy, frequency, all goes on this side. There's 99%, so only 1% is like action, strategies, methods, the how, the techniques. And Kevin Trudeau went even that far and said it's maybe even 99.9% this side. So basically almost nothing here. And it's true because you know why? Because we can only focus on one thing at a time, right? We cannot focus on both 50-50. It's not possible. We either focus on that or we focus on that. So, and the thing is, when we do that right, when we focus on this side of the training balance scale, and we fully tuned in, we have a burning desire, we believe we can get it, belief is also here, we feel amazing, we are aligned with what we want. If this is in place, this will manifest easily, and the universe will bring to you exactly the strategy you need for you to get what you want, if this is right. If this is not right, then you also won't receive the how. Doesn't mean you should sit on the couch and do nothing, right? Because we all have to do some things, but this is about creating something new, right? Because we have to do something differently to create something different, to create something new in our life, right? So you still do all the things you do before, like your responsibilities, your job, everything, but that's already, you want to change your thoughts first. That's where it starts. Because when you actually change your thoughts, even in your current job, things will start to change in your current job, right? Maybe people will leave that didn't fit with you, that were mean to you. Maybe your boss is quitting or whatever happens, or maybe they kick you out. Maybe suddenly you lose your job and you're like, why did this happen? But if you tune in here, it happened because of a reason, because you are just on the way to getting what you want, right? The universe is putting things into place. And that's what, from my experience, so true, because on one point when I started focusing heavily on the how, on the strategies, right? Because now I'm into business. Now I'm a businessman as well. Now I need to focus now I need to read all these books that, talk about different strategies. And the more I did that, the more I got confused, the more I got paralyzed, and the more I lost my burning desire. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do. And I'm 100% sure many of you know how that feels like, right? So when we consume a lot of information, because we focus on the how, on getting more strategies, right? So we are looking out for the how before we even clear on this side, on what we want and why we want. So, and it's really my experience. Things didn't work out anymore when I focused too much on the how. I lost my spirit. I lost the energy, the frequency that made my sales happen in a way. Because I got my best clients, also to tell that story. I got I sold my most expensive painting in 2020. So that was the first year I was doing it full time for $24,000 through Facebook. So, and I didn't focus on the strategy. I didn't get a better strategy. I didn't get a better how. I didn't get better methods that I suddenly started using. I did actually the same thing. No, actually, I worked less. I don't recommend you to work less, but if you tune in, things like this start to happen. I worked less that month, but my goal was so clear. I had the goal to make 40,000 in 2 months. I somehow, in my brain, I didn't believe that I can make 20,000 in 1 month, but somehow 40,000 in 2 months. I'm like, okay, that's a bit more time. So that must be possible. And so I made the decision. Decision is another thing, by the way. I don't know if many talk about that, but a decision is so powerful. When you make a real decision, it's, a decision that it's done, that's when the universe, like imagine there are like helpers in the universe, like maybe angels or whatever, some spiritual beings that help you and support you. Suddenly they're all standing up and say, finally, she made a decision. Now we can get to work. And then they start, putting all into place for you. That's really like every time I made this decision, it was incredible. So that was in November when I made the decision to make 40,000 in 2 months. That's when I sold my first painting for $24,000. I mean, I calculate in Swiss francs. In Swiss francs, it was 20,000. So let's say that to make it easier, 20,000 Swiss francs. And I sold another one that month. So in the first month, I made basically 27,000 Swiss francs in the first month. And I was blown away. And I didn't, the first customer, she reached out to me because she saw a video where I paint the painting, and to be honest, I don't get many customers reaching out to me from a video or post. Usually I have to do some action and, talk to people. But that month she reached out to me, said she wants it. I'm like, great, let's talk on Saturday. We talked on Saturday, she bought it. And then the other lady, we had a conversation, but then she came back in November and said, hey, I was thinking about you. I couldn't forget the painting. I would like to have it. How much is it? And then I'm like, I thought, this painting was my absolute favorite. I usually don't charge 20,000, but I'm like, for me, I said that before she asked, I said, I want to have 20,000 euros. And so when she came, that's what I said. And then she said, okay, I checked with my bank. Then she came back 2 days later. Okay, we have a little problem with the bank. They don't want to give me all the money. And I'm like, okay, let's jump on a call and figure it out. And we figured it out and she bought it. And I made the first month like 27,000, or I think it's in 28,000. So I was blown away. But I can tell you, if I wouldn't have believed that this is possible, I mean, I was a bit nervous, right? This was on the edge of belief. There was like where I'm like almost like going into self-doubt and self-sabotage. But that's the thing, when we go for something we don't fully believe in, we start to self-sabotage ourselves. We self-sabotage. And we start to, for example, when this would happen and I would not fully believe it and she wants to buy it. And that happened to me in the past, by the way, that I was reading a message from someone, but my brain kind of interpreted it differently as something negative because I wasn't fully tuned in. I wasn't focused on what I wanted. I was focused on what I don't want. So I actually read the message wrong and took it as something like as a no. But then when I came back, that's not her, the lady that bought the painting for 20,000. That's a different story. But that happened to me just to say that our mindset is sometimes crazy. It's like almost, even the same thing, it puts it differently in a way. You know what I mean? When you're in a negative state, you suddenly see this thing in a negative way. But then you start feeling better. You do whatever you go to nature, you go for a nice walk and you feel much better. Then you come back, look at the same thing and suddenly you see totally different. Right? So that's the power of the mind. And that's why this is so important. And this is exactly what happened to me. If I wouldn't have believed that I can do this 40,000, I would have 100%, I would have sabotaged the 20,000 euro sale, 100%. Because there would have been so many ways to sabotage that. Because I could have thought that maybe because she said the bank doesn't want to give her the money. And I could have thought, okay, she's wasting my time, it's not working. If I would have been negative, but I've been in a really good state and I knew what I wanted. So I'm like, okay, let's jump on a quick call and let's figure that out. Let's see how I can help. And that's what we did and it worked. So just to explain, right? And that's when I made the decision to get these 40,000. So to go a bit back, it's again, to just be clear about what you want and have this burning desire, but you also need to decide for something. And that's how the first month when I decided for the coach, which means I decided for my art, that's what the first month, bam, it was going like crazy. And even after that, it didn't go like this all the time, right? There were times when it went a bit more down again. Then I focused on some more strategies and lost some of my energy, or stuff happens. But this first month was just amazing. And always when I look back, I'm like, yeah, I know why this happened, because I made the decision and I had because that's also in the law of attraction. They say the more you focus on what you want and the higher the intensity, the faster it comes into your life, right? So what's the intensity? The intensity is basically the burning desire. So the bigger your burning desire, the more intensity you give towards what you want. It's like a frequency that's just like very intense. And you focus on it day and night because you have a burning desire. A burning desire means you focus on it day and night. And then it means it will come fast into your reality. And that's exactly it. It took me very long time, and not much happened, little successes, not much painting sold. But then suddenly 2020, all of a sudden, bam, it went up. And so most of my preparation was not on business. It was on the mindset part, on the training balance scale. 90, like really the whole, let's say the boot camp with my mentors, living and working with them was 99% focused on the mindset, raising my belief that it's possible, seeing them living an amazing life, seeing them things that I desire, going with them to beautiful restaurants, going with them to hotels, or like seeing new things, traveling with them. And all like that kind of raised my belief and raised my desire, right? So in 2020, it was at the top. My belief and desire was at the top, and that's why it happened so fast. So in theory, it's possible to make $1 million this year. Even if you make 5,000-10,000 per month, you could make $1 million this year. But it's only will happen if you have a burning desire for it and you believe you can get it. Only then. If there is any doubt, or if you don't even care so much, because that's also another thing. If we want to do what we love, money is and make a living from it, money is involved. So you also need to know, you need to get a burning desire. So any limiting beliefs around money won't help you. Right? Then you cannot get the burning desire. So you need to think about, why do you want to have this money? Why do you want to make that much? Right? So when you set goals in business, you want to get a burning desire for a number, because now you're in business, right? You want to grow your business. You want to make that's your focus. That's your chief aim, as Napoleon Hill says. And then you need to define, like, why do you want this? What will this money give you? Right? And that's also kind of life book. It's very holistic. And for Jon Missy, for example, it comes everywhere. Like, you can be a better parent, you can travel more, you have more freedom. You know, maybe your wife can stay at home, or whatever the benefits are, or the quality of life when you have a business like this. These are the things you can do. This is the house you can live in, whatever it is for you that gets you excited, right? But you want to really work on getting this burning desire. That means you don't want to limit yourself by dreaming about things, but the thing is, in our society, it's really almost like bad wanting things. Like, wanting money and wanting things is almost like bad, but it doesn't need to be all the motivation, right? It's like you can be, do, and have. What is it? Like, have, and do everything and anything you want, right? So it's also about, it depends what motivates you. You need to find what motivates you, what gives you a burning desire. That's why it's like, what do you want and why do you want it, right? That's the why will give you the burning desire. So the more you can really feel it, the stronger it is, and the faster it comes into your reality.
I'm getting pumped up by this. We have some questions rolling in, but I really didn't want to stop you in your flow. That was so beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
There's a few questions coming in about just getting that right mentor. That was earlier in the chat. They asked something about, you could just tackle that real quick if you want. I would say if you have something to offer them, that's really good, because now you create a dynamic where you will help them with what they are doing. I would say that's very helpful. Some people said something about it's hard to find them in the local area. Maybe you have some kind of solution for them in terms of getting that beyond where you are right now. Maybe you could create some kind of dynamic online. What would you say on that?
With the mentor, so first, like, how to find the right mentor. First of all, like, who is the right mentor? That's who do you listen to, right? You want to be very, very selective of that. So you want to listen to someone who was where you are, because then they know what the path is like, and they are now where you want to be. This is the right mentor. If you find someone like that, that's the right mentor, right? So it doesn't need to be perfect. And I wouldn't run around to too many, like, just focus on one or two maybe, but I focused on one for a very long time. And yeah, someone who was where you are and who is where you want to be. That's who you should listen to. That's the right mentor. And then how you can get in contact with this mentor is like William said, you offer them something, you help them, you add value to them. So you need to think of, like, I think even Napoleon Hill was in
There's no
yeah,
something for nothing. Maybe that's what you're thinking about.
No, I think in the movie, I also watched the movie, I think Napoleon Hill started working for Andrew Carnegie.
Oh yeah, and then he
And he was
exposed
the
him to all
richest
these
person on
successful
earth.
people. Henry
Exactly.
Ford. He studied Henry
Yeah.
Ford. He studied Thomas Edison. He was surrounded with all these people who were doing incredible things and making a huge impact on the world. I mean, it just rubbed off on him really. And
Yeah.
of course, it's hard to like get in touch with like who would that be today? That would be like Elon Musk. I guess that would be pretty
Yeah.
hard. But really
But
go out there and look for it.
yeah, and I would say, like, how can, if you wanna, it depends like how close you want to be to this mentor. I mean, today it's so easy. Usually mentors, they offer coaching. So I would, you know, now I would just, if I want to have a mentor, I just pay for their coaching. I'm not
Yeah, you can
afraid
pay
to
them
invest.
too.
Exactly. And then build a relationship while you're in the program. Be a good student, because believe me, these people love when, you know, when they teach something, when they coach, they love to see good students. They love people, they love to see their students implementing things and being really here, and also maybe find ways to add value to them. So what I did, my example is extreme, but that's what I did. I asked them, can I help you? Really, to my mentors, I'm like, can I help you in any way? And they said, yes, we actually need someone to clean and cook. And so it's not like something everybody would like to do, but I'm like, okay, yes, I'll do that, you know? So looking back, I'm like, sometimes I was feeling like, you know, who am I? I'm just cleaning. I mean, I like to cook, but, you know, sometimes I was thinking like that, but then I'm like, no, that's the best thing you can do, right? Because then slowly I got new opportunities and I was exposed to new things and I learned things and all these things, right? So it doesn't need to be cleaning and cooking for your mentor, but just think about a way you can add value. And the same I did actually with Jon, right? I was like building a relationship with Jon, because I mean, he is also a huge role model for me, and I'm also not afraid telling them, you know, the changes they did in my life. I'm very generous with testimonials, but some people don't like to give testimonials. I try to give the best testimonial possible, because if I'm, of course, I only do that if I'm convinced from the program and what they do. But Lifebook is an example where I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I love to give great testimonials. I love to find ways to add value. And with Jon, I had a podcast around art, right? So he talked about art, collecting art. And he also told me he doesn't have many people to talk about that, because there are not many art collectors, right? The collectors that invest in blue chip artists. That's quite rare. So he really loved talking about this, and, you know, having the opportunity to share this knowledge with, it was for the Lifebook community, right? So to share this knowledge with you. So I would just find, yeah, ways to add value to your mentors and be a good student. And if you can pay them for coaching, then this is probably the easiest way if you can afford it. So yeah.
I mean, every master was at one point a student. That's a dead given with
Even
anything.
best masters are still the best students. That's why they're now masters.
Yeah, they were the best students. That's exactly the thing. I can write a question here from was that Laura? I think Laura. Yeah. I've seen some cases of people who love doing certain things because it allows them to play and to have full creative freedom. But the moment they create something for other people for money, they feel in chains because they have to consider what the public/client wants and needs. Do you have any advice on how to getting financial abundance doing what you love and still keep the joy of creation? To find a way to still have creative freedom to play and explore when you need to also consider what the clients might want. I would say just stay authentic. Always stay authentic. What would you say on that? There's also a few questions on pricing, just about feeling good about putting a price on it and just feel firm on that. When I would say you really have to believe in the value of what you're offering. And what Oliver is doing here is that he's putting it out there. He's letting people know about it. Obviously, you need to get it in front of the right people who will be excited about that, who will have the kind of money they need to pay for it. And you have to be proud of it. You have to be sold on your own product or service. Otherwise, how could others buy from it? So maybe you could share a few things on that from what Laura wrote, and also on feeling good about putting that price on it, like you said, with that painting that you've sold for 20,000.
Okay, maybe I answer this first. And about the price, yeah, it's true. It's you have to believe in what you do. So for me, it was in the beginning when I had all the doubt. It was like, why should anyone buy my art, right? Is it really that good? So all the doubt. So of course I was never able in that state to charge what I really wanted to. And what I did, I took a lot of time to think about, what am I about? What is my art about? What's the legacy? What do I stand for? What do I stand against? Like I wrote pages and pages and pages. And then I saw, whoa, and then I also like came to the conclusion that I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm doing. So my art could be worth in 10 years, like 10 or 100 times as much as it is right now. Right. So I took a lot of time thinking about what I want, what I stand for, my mission, what I believe in, what I want to really do with my art beyond selling art, right? All these things. And then I also saw like, I want to be a big artist. I want my art to be worth much more. I want it to be worth hundreds of thousands at one point. When I really believed that, then it was like 20,000 is like, it's not much. It's like a good deal. But, and she actually said, the funny thing is, I didn't even tell her that. She came back to me, writing to me that she thought about it and she feels like she should get one now, because in her vision, she has art, but in her mind, it was more for the future. She was not ready yet for art. But then she said, she thinks she needs to get one now, because you never know, maybe my art will be worth much more when she, would buy later. And I didn't even mention that. I promise. But I thought about that so clearly, and I became really confident that she somehow picked it up, because that's also how you give yourself, right? Your whole energy is changing. And I guess they could see it in the posts I was writing, in the content I was giving out, and probably even the art I create, because our energy is influencing everything. So I would say that. But of course, like art is a little bit different, because art is like almost, there are artists are selling their art for 50 francs or $50, some for 500, some 5,000, some 50,000, so art is a very special thing, right? But let's say you want to sell coaching, but it's actually the same. I know people that sell their coaching for 500, some for 5,000, some for 50,000. And I even have friends, they invested now in business coaches and spend, I think it's either 100 or 120,000. So you know what I mean? But the thing again is, you have to believe in it. I also tell that to every artist that I helped. I always tell that you actually can choose the price, right? Because people are buying for more. But if you say, I want to have 5 million for my artwork, but you don't believe it, then then it's not going to work out. So you need to pick a price that you also believe you can charge, that someone will buy, and start from there, right? Don't start too high, because I also once did the mistake of charging for my art, or I wanted to charge 15,000, 20, 30,000 for all artworks. And but I actually didn't really believe it. So I started sabotaging myself and stopped selling. I didn't reach out to anyone, because I'm like, these are my prices now, but I believed somehow nobody will buy it. So that's the thing. So you need to be, you need to believe in the price you set, and then just go for it and try it. That's another thing. You also have to go out and try. You cannot just think for yourself about your prices. You also have to then go out and offer what you have to offer for the price you decided on, and see how that goes. If you talk to 20 people or like 30 people and everybody says no, maybe it is a price thing, maybe, right? I don't know. So that's why you also need to test.
Yeah, what would you say, like, how do you get that belief? How do you actually get to that place of that belief?
So we would say that's the thing, you need to start where you're at, because otherwise you don't move forward. You need to pick the price you believe in right now. And from there, so there's this sentence, go as far as you can see. And when you get there, you see further, right? So oftentimes we want to be already way further. We want to be already there. But we get overwhelmed because it's too far. We need to take the next step, and then we see further. So that's exactly it. Take what you believe in right now. And then, I did the same thing. In 2020, I charged 1,000 for my artwork. Sold 2 paintings, amazing paintings. I regret a little bit giving them away for 1,000, but I needed to, because I needed to also build my belief again. And then 2 months later, sold 2 paintings. Like, I raised my prices 4 times as much, so 4,000. And the guy bought 2. That's the first one I told the new price to. He bought not 1, but 2, 8,000. Then I slowly tested, like, what about 6,000? And sold 1. What about 9,000? Sold 1. But not. I mean, there are many people that said no. That's usual in business too. So more people say no than they say yes. That's another thing that you need to overcome. But that's why it's so important to first know what you want, so you have this drive and energy to get going, even though like 10 people just said no, right? So, but that's what I did. I started where I was, what I believed in, and from there, when I sold 1, I'm like, because this also, the experience of actually getting successes and getting wins builds your confidence and your belief as well. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you started on 20,000 on your first painting, then probably you would just get a lot of no's because you didn't believe it at that point, and then it would just sabotage your own belief even further, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When I had these high prices too early, every time I was thinking about reaching out to someone, all the doubts came. What will they say? How will they react to me? Will they laugh at me? Will they feel like I'm taking advantage of them? Like, all these things came to my mind. So I actually didn't reach out to anyone. So again, sometimes we're like, oh, I need to believe it. I need to. And we try to trick ourselves. But we need to actually be honest to ourselves. It's like, what do I believe in right now? And take this step. And then when we are there, we can go to the next step. So it's like, sometimes it's really simple, but I think for me, it was also these motivational videos I watched on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, these very short clips that should motivate you, but sometimes they give you tips that are out of context. So, there you hear often dream big. And so you're like dreaming really big and you feel actually bad about it, but because you don't achieve it, and then you feel even worse about it. Right. So, I had that a long time. I had 2 big dreams. And I mean, you still can have big dreams, but you focus on the things in your sweet spot. That's what you really focus on. Your dream is somewhere there. You dream about it, but you don't, put a number on it, or, how long it takes or whatever. So, yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Oliver, we gotta see your tattoo. It's about time that we show it to the people who stayed on with us this far.
Oh yeah, so
yeah, we're at 1.5 hours now.
There was a question from
yeah, do you want to answer the one from Ramona? It was about, what do you intend your clients to feel when they see your art? I think we have to put some of these questions, like put them in the comments for the event, and then maybe we could answer them there. Maybe we have to make like a part 2 of this, because we could just keep going. Really,
I was thinking, so maybe the part 2 can then also be like in addition to that, where maybe talk a little bit more about the strategies. Now when you have all of this, we can go to more the strategies. So how exactly do you go now towards the Facebook? How do you find? And so we can talk about this and answer some of the questions. Should we do that?
That would actually be really nice. Yeah.
Great idea. Then we just need to copy the chat. William, do you know how to do that? Save chat, I see. I think it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
okay,
that.
then should we stop with the secret and my tattoo? which
Yeah,
has the
maybe just I
secret.
saw Ramona raised her hand, but you can do the tattoo, and then maybe if we have time, if it's a quick one, probably. But I think you should just go for the tattoo in case somebody needs to go off, and then we can
Okay.
have
Maybe
Ramona
we
come on
can.
after that.
Okay. Oh, this shirt is so tight. I don't know if I think I need to take it off.
It was easier earlier. He had
But-
this tank
Yeah, I
top
had.
on, and then it was just super obvious because you could see.
Yeah, now this is very tight on my arm. So
You're gonna get a little
once I'm right
striptease
back.
maybe.
I think I'm switching.
Why
back
did you
to
go
the
off screen?
Just change my yeah, it's easier.
All the
So,
ladies are like, oh no.
yeah, next time, if you come to the next one, you can see it. Okay?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
keep
yeah.
that for the part 2. Also, are you ready? So that's the tattoo. If you can read it.
Whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve.
Exactly. That's it. So that's actually the secret, right? We asked you about the secret from Napoleon Hill. And there are 2 quotes which really sum up the secret. So this tattoo, whatever the mind of man can conceive, so whatever you can imagine, right? That's the first thing. And bring itself to believe, it can achieve. So the secret in this quote is actually, okay, we know already, right? What you can imagine, right? But we imagine a lot of things. And so we think about a lot of things we want. But the secret here is the belief. It's really the belief. That's the secret. It's like whatever you can think of and believe, you can achieve. And then the second quote, which entails the other secret, is define what you want and get a burning desire for its achievement or attainment, whatever. But yeah, define what you want and get a burning desire for its achievement. So here you have it. First one is the belief, whatever the mind of man can conceive and bring itself to believe, it can achieve. And then the other thing is like, define what you want and get a burning desire for its achievement. That's these 2 things. That's basically the secret. That's it. So if you apply that to every time you think about something you want to achieve, and you're like, okay, how, and you can actually do that. How high is my belief from 1 to 10? And then like, it's 9. Okay, great. How high is my desire from 1 to 10? It's 8. Then it's good, you know? Then you had like quite a high number. You're like in that's what I would call the sweet spot.
How can you make it one higher?
The belief should actually be the 10, right? But when you're at the 9, you probably start thinking about it and you feel good about it. And, you know, naturally you start believing in it more, right? So because you have a positive momentum going. And the wrong thing to do would be to have something that you believe in 2, but maybe you have like William explained it actually very well. You have a 10 desire, but 2 belief. That's not going to work because Napoleon Hill said it. That's really the secret of his book. And when you do that, you can really achieve anything. Just also, sometimes that's the thing. It takes a little bit time sometimes to define what you want and find the thing that you have a burning desire for and that you believe in, right? That's actually more the work. But when you have that, then the other things, the how and everything just flows then. Yeah.
Wonderful. Do we have time? I mean, I need to hop off very soon, but Ramona, did you want to come on?
Well, I just want to say thank you to both you, William, and Oliver. Oliver reached out to me about, I don't know, within the last year, I know, to meet with him. And I was so busy writing my book, Oliver, that I was just disciplined. And I finally finished it this week. And I've been working on it for 16 months. So now I need to find an artist to to design the cover. And I'm not going to ask you because you might be too expensive, but it's just a book cover. I just wanted to make a couple of comments based on what you said, Oliver, because I think it's profound. I think one of the things that you said that I noticed true about myself is having people around you who believe in you more than you believe in yourself, especially when you're just taken off, you know? I mean, that is so profound. And it's good to have them around often enough to keep reminding you. of the value that you have and the potential that you have, and so that you don't let yourself down. And it's a struggle. You know, I have a similar background growing up in alcoholism, and that's what my book has been about. So my book is primarily a cathartic process, but it's done with the intention to help other people talk about their story so that they can get the help they need. And so, but I'm in a transition now. So I really will be in touch with you, Oliver, to make an offer to you to give you some value so that we can discuss the possibility of your mentoring me through this transitional period that I'm in. But also, I just want to make a comment to William, because, you know, I don't know you much. I've seen you on some of the calls. I've been busy writing my book, so I haven't been a lot in my book. But you know, I look at your microphone and it's a gold microphone, and I'm like, this is such an inspiration to me, because these are the little things that I think that we can do for ourselves in our homes and whatever we need to inspire us, that reinforces that which we want to do. And I think your interview today has been fabulous. And I was in the call yesterday and it got off to a slow start, and I was a little bit, you know, busy. So I said, I'll have to listen to the recording. So I'll go back to listen to that recording. But seeing your microphone is quite impressive. So always keep that in the picture. Because
oh yeah,
it says highly about your voice.
I have this right here too, just some pictures to inspire me.
Yeah, but I'm saying your microphone is inspiring to others too. You know, I mean, it basically
that's nice.
it basically is a symbol. It says, you know, that you have something meaningful to hear.
Yeah, that's actually a nice symbolism in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
I just want to point that out, because I have photography background. I'm an artist by my empathic nature, but I haven't. And this is one of the things I want to discuss with Oliver in a private conversation. And I'll reach out to you, Oliver, on
The app.
the platform. But yeah, so I think you're a beautiful soul, by the way. I just want to say thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us.
If you ever have a chance to go to his apartment in Switzerland, he is not at it right now. He just took some of his paintings there, but that's inspiring. Like just that environment, that is, wow. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to working with you one-on-one, and I hope that you provide me with that opportunity, because I'll certainly be in touch with you in the next couple of days. But I'm leaving my past behind at 65 years old, so I have to recreate myself newly, and I'm excited. I'm eager. You know, it's a blessing, but it's creating my own canvas. You know, it's a new world in a sense. So thank you so much for this, because I really needed to hear this today. God bless you.
So happy to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we really have to, let me just unpin here. We really have to make a part 2 for this. I mean, we could go on. I mean, when we spoke, me and Oliver in Switzerland, we were just going. That was, wow. And thank you all for being on.
Before you put the part 2 together, ask other people what they might want to know.
Yeah, write it in the comments.
Out there, get feedback.
Yeah.
When you post the recording, ask people what they want to know, and so that you can format the sequel. You can format the sequel to include what it is that we want to know. Okay. And I think you need a part 2 for sure.
Yeah, take some time to think about that. Write it in the comments of this event, and then we can put together some questions that we can tackle there, and go more into the how, talk some more about the principles in Think and Grow Rich. That would be really, like, that book had a big influence on me too. So that would be very interesting to do. Yeah, I mean, what's left to say is thank you all for being on. Just take that inspiration, spread it out there. Don't just keep it confined to this talk right here. Bring it out there. I hope your belief got leveled up so that you can step out there, believe in yourself, believe in the value of your service, your product, wherever your mission is here, whatever that intention is that you came on with today. I'm sending it out there, like I'm future pacing it for all of you, that we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna go out there, we're gonna crush it. And Oliver, he's an inspiration for all of us. I feel myself, like my belief is just like up leveling when I listen to him. I hope the same thing happened with you. It's really gonna, like, having that belief raised, it's magic. It really is the secret to making it happen. So part 2 coming up soon. Oliver, do you have any final words before we close it off?
Yeah, just thank you so much for all the beautiful comments I see here. It's it's amazing to see, you know, that you're inspired by what I said here and that it made an impact. And I'm really, really happy that I could serve and share some valuable information with you. So, and I'm excited for part 2. That will be amazing. Yeah.
All right. All that's left to say is have an amazing day. Thank you for being on, and see you next time.
Thank
Feel
you.
free to unmute and say
next
thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. And love the music too.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, we gotta show
Yeah,
put some
yeah.
more inspirational music there.
You take care
you,
now,
everyone.
okay?
All
Bye-bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.